Alright, the new Lianorn Ride Line is here, along with a surprising new Krysrain that was not teased at all until it was shown in the anime. So let's begin. Here's the starter, Racing Wind Corfi. You will have to run this one for the new Ride Line, in which we go to Grade 1 Wiki Power, Budding Sensation Grancia, which has a skill of Auto when placed by riding on top of the Grade 0 Racing Wind Corfi. Reveal the new Grade 3 Lianorn Traumend from your ride deck and call a plant token. The original Grade 1 calls itself instead of calling a plant token, but that does make you lose a soul, but calling itself is more power, especially adding the second skill where it's the same exact skill technically, where count rearguard during the battle this unit boosts if your Vanguard is a unison state plus 5k. This will happen sometimes if you're playing a drop zone heavy deck, but personally I'd rather keep this in soul with the plant tokens since you do get the extra soul. In which we go to the new grade 2 with Tengi Power, Hopeful Tune Rectina, which has the skill of auto when rolled upon by a grade 3 Lianorn, choose one of your Vanguards, and its original cost ability is reduced by 1 counterblast until the end turn. This is of course very helpful just to save on resources, so no complaints here. With the second skill of count rearguard, if your Vanguard is in unison state dress, this unit gets the boost ability plus intercept from the back row. Original one lets you call from the drop zone by soul blasting 1, so this one is just basically a save on soul resources and counterblast as well. But for the new ride line, you have to run this. In which we go to the new grade 3 with 13k power, Bandmaster of Blooming Dreams Lianorn Traumend, which has the skill of the UnisonDress ability where count Vanguard, this unit becomes UnisonDress. Yep, just by placing on Vanguard, which is a huge deal as this is just on first grade 3 ride to do so. So instantly replacing the old grade 3 from the ride deck, in which the second skill is count Vanguard, all your Lianorn rearguards get the boost ability plus grade -2, making them into grade 1s. With the last skill of Auto Vanguard, once per turn when this unit attacks while not being boosted, stand all your back row units and give them the boost ability, and then they boost this unit. And then if you boost with at least 3 units, cost count +1, energy +2, this card gets drive +1 in turn, and then at the end of the battle perform one of the following. Choose 2 of your back row rearguards and stand them, or if your opponent's Vanguard is at least grade 3, choose 1 of your rearguards, stand that unit along with this card, and then this card gets those 10k power with a drive -3 into the end turn. And then cost, put a Lianorn card from your hand or rearguard into your soul, and then drive +1 in the end turn. So once again, free triple boosting, which already makes it better than the original one, especially since UnisonDress on your first grade 3 ride, and still retaining the triple drive like the original, but also restands itself along with a front row rearguard with some extra power since Lianorn originally does not restand with some extra power, and a potential extra drive check, which is just overall just a 5 attack deck, unless if you're using Renaissance Dragon, which can give you your 6 attack. So when it comes to comparing it to the original, there's no question about running this compared to the original. Now, if you're using Vivace, in my opinion, similar to the Drajeweled situation, Vivace is still the better finisher, since Vivace boosts with your whole entire field, but then you get 2 Vanguard attacks, but with 2 different separate drive checks, with a 2 and then 1 drive check. You do lose Persona by riding Vivace, but considering that you still get the extra draw and a 5k power buff, which is a mini Persona, it might still be worth using Vivace as a finisher over this one, especially since this one is 1 attack with 3 drive checks, which is better than the first attack when it comes to Vivace, but the second one is a potential extra drive check, and Vivace is an additional extra attack in comparison to this one. So in my opinion, Vivace is still better as a finisher, while this one is just of course better than the original grade 3 and it's UnisonDress on your first grade 3 ride, so you do run this regardless, but as a finisher I prefer Vivace. And now to the one support card, Artful Display of United Hearts Melmore, which is grade 2 with taking power and skills. Auto Rearguard. When this unit is placed on Rearguard, choose a card from your hand with a UnisonDress ability, reveal it, and either that card or your Vanguard is UnisonDress state, cost, Crown Blast 1, draw a card, then Soul Blast 1, call plant token Rearguard. Pretty nice that now on your grade 3 turn, it's a potential +2, or you could just do it for the draw. With the second skill, Auto Rearguard, when this unit attacks, if your Vanguard is in UnisonDress, and your opponent's Vanguard is at least grade 3, choose one of your back row rearguards and increase this unit's power by that unit's power into the end of that battle. Basically, it's a double boosting type of attack, so not only that you get the boosting power, but you also get the additional power from this card's skill from that boosted unit. And this does have potential to get very big, considering that Lianorn does have a bunch of extra boosting power, especially for those boosters that get extra power, and then this card can get even more power from that extra boost. So overall, pretty decent to hit your high numbers. And now to the surprise new form of Krystrain, faded one of ever-changing Krystrain Cadenza. Yes, she's still Faded One and her title didn't change, she just added a new name. But anyway, it's a grade 3 with 13 power and the skill is act Vanguard once per turn, cost count loss 1, choose any number of your rear guards and perform one of the following abilities. But if you chose 4 units with different names, you perform 2 instead. If you chose 5 units with different names, you perform all abilities instead. And yes, you can choose herself as well. So anyway, the abilities are draw a card and energy charge 3, or choose one of your units and it gets plus 15k power in a turn, or this unit gets crit plus 1, or choose one of your rear guards and it gets the skill in the end turn. Auto rear guard at the end of your turn, you may return this unit back to your hand. So basically, it's the same as the original Krysrain, except that there's this new added section where you choose one of your rear guards to give that skill to bounce back to the hand. And bouncing at the end of the turn might work out better, especially for certain cards like Uica, but it's already overall pretty nice since that's quite a lot of abilities just for one counterblast of a skill. And even original Krysrain just having 3 out of the 4 abilities was already pretty decent. So I'm kind of surprised that they actually didn't extend its cost a bit, or add a condition. In which the second skill is the new Divine skill, where Auto Vanguard at the end of battle this unit attacked at least a grade 3 unit, cost Soul Blast 1, choose any number of your rear guards and return them back to the hand, and then choose a unit from your hand and call it to rear guard, and then until the end turn, change its power and critical to match this unit. So it's kind of similar to the original, where you just bounce back your rear guards and then call another one, but the original one is for free, but you have to bounce your whole entire field. This one costs you a Soul Blast, but you get to choose whatever rear guards you want to bounce back to your hand, which is actually kind of helpful sometimes because there are certain support cards that need you to activate when your Vanguard attacks, and it would kind of suck that you would just waste it just by bouncing everything back to your hand. Like one, that grade 1 multi-attacker, which wouldn't be usable on the Divine skill turn, but now with this letting you choose what cards to return back to your hand, Divine skill multi-attack 5 attacks in the turn is actually now more consistent, since you don't need to rely on the superior call units anymore. But overall, it is basically just an improvement of the original that doesn't even require the original at all, so that's a little surprising as well, and I kind of don't like that since it's an evolution, but it is overall just basically improvement of the original. And finally to the one support card, Empathetic Line ML, which is a grade 2 with 10 power in the skills. Auto when placed on rear guard, you can soul charge 1, and if your Vanguard is at least a grade 3 Krystrain, choose one of your units that gets plus 5k power in a turn, then cost counterblast 1, draw a card, and this unit gets plus 5k power in a turn. It is pretty nice that you get free power, along with the free soul. Not like this deck really suffers too much from the soul issue, but you do use a bit of soul, so that does help. But the counterblast to draw an extra 5k will be used only sometimes just so you could fill up your board mostly, since this deck still doesn't really have a countercharge option, in which the second skill is act rear guard once per turn. If your Vanguard is at least a grade 3 Vanguard Krystrain, and you played an order card this turn, cost energy blast 3, choose a card that is grade 1 without Sentinel from your drop zone, and if you do not have that as a rear guard, call it to rear guard. My only gripe about this skill is that you need to play an order card during the turn. Krysrain herself does not really have an order card other than a Divine Skill promo, which can be played for free by the way if you have a Divine Skill unit, along with few other generic orders that you can play for the deck, but I still prefer regular units over having an order card as this deck requires you to have full on board of units. But personally, I would just use this for the first skill for the extra power and soul, and in case for extra draw. Guess you could text some order cards in as well if you wish to do so as well. And so that's it for the new Lianorn along with the new Krystrain. What do you guys think of it? When it comes to Lianorn, it feels like basically the Bastion situation again, where basically you replace the grade 3 from the ride deck with your new first ride, along with the finisher ride, and unlike Drajeweled, Lianorn can actually play its old support cards pretty well, because Drajeweled is mostly linked to the grade 4 engine. So you just play this one as the new Lianorn Traumend, it's still pretty fine to play the old support with it. But as for the new Krystrain, not only that it was a surprise and it was a little worrisome that the character who plays it is mostly background, I'm really glad that she got a new evolved form. Even though it doesn't use the original, it is a huge improvement to the original as it's just basically the same thing with some added stuff. In a way similar to Leo Dragonis where you don't need the original but the original can still be played in that one in comparison to this one where you probably don't have the space to even put the original and you don't even need the original as a requirement at all. And that's the only thing I kind of don't like since it doesn't really feel like an evolved form. But still overall pretty good and I'm excited for it. But other than that, that's it for this and see you next time.